Hey there everybody and welcome back. I'm your host Joshua Ryan. Loki is known as the God of Mischief, but after seeing the trailer for his new series coming to Disney+, he may soon be known by another name as well, D.B. Cooper. Now if that name sounds familiar, it's because D.B. Cooper is the alias given to the real-life, unidentified man who hijacked an airplane and made a daring escape mid-flight. The case has baffled the FBI and true crime enthusiasts since the bold crime occurred in 1971, and it remains the only unsolved case of commercial airline piracy in history. So what does this have to do with Loki? Well, I'm here to tell you. It's been about a week since Disney's Investors Day, where they announced a ton of upcoming projects from Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, and more. We could talk about all that breaking news for hours, and we did on our Inside Fandom show, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. But that's not what we're here for. Today we're taking a closer look at that Loki trailer, and more specifically, those few moments from the trailer that seem to suggest that the unknown identity of that infamous hijacker was none other than Loki himself, and what that could mean for the series. So let's start with what we know about the real-life hijacking that occurred right before Thanksgiving in 1971. A clean-cut, well-dressed, middle-aged man bought a plane ticket using the fake name Dan Cooper. It was a one-way ticket from Portland to Seattle, and he paid with cash. He was seated in the back of the plane and ordered a bourbon and soda, a classic choice. After takeoff, he passed a note to a flight attendant telling her that he had a bomb in his briefcase. He even opened the briefcase and showed the flight attendant what appeared to be a bomb. Real or fake, there were cylinders and wires and a large battery. Cooper requested $200,000 in unmarked currency and a parachute. Remember though that this was in 1971. $200,000 was a lot more back then. In fact, when you account for inflation, that would be worth over $1 million by today's standards. His demands were relayed to the cockpit and to the ground crew, and the plan was made to cooperate and pay the ransom. The plane landed in Seattle, and Cooper allowed all of the passengers to exit. The money was delivered to Cooper along with the parachute as the plane was parked in a heavily lit area of the airport with all of the window shades pulled down to prevent police snipers. The plane was refueled and took off once again, this time headed towards Mexico. The flight crew and passengers later described D.B. Cooper as calm and polite throughout the entire ordeal, never threatening and even charismatic. There were only 5 people on the flight after taking off again, Cooper and 4 members of the flight crew, including the pilots. With everybody ordered into the cockpit, Cooper leapt from the plane midair and was never heard from again. His remains were never located and his identity was never discovered. It's widely debated as to whether he survived the jump and lived out the remainder of his days a wealthy man, or if he died and his body was just never found. Now fast forward to the debut trailer for Loki's upcoming series. There was a lot to take in here, and we are definitely in for one hell of a show, but what stood out to me were the images of Loki on an airplane dressed in a black suit with a white shirt and a black tie, the exact same wardrobe that witnesses had described D.B. Cooper to be wearing. We see him holding a black satchel and leaping from an airplane mid-flight with a parachute strapped to his back. As he falls, he's caught by a beam of light and transported out of sight by Heimdall, leaving nothing but a small amount of cash floating in the air. The similarities are way too much to be a coincidence, and it seems that Marvel is going to use the unsolved crime as part of their storyline. We know that time travel will play an important part in the series because we get to see Owen Wilson as a member of the Time Variance Authority in the trailer. The TVA is an organization from Marvel's comics that are responsible for monitoring timelines, so Loki popping up in 1971 makes sense. We're definitely going to be getting some great content from Marvel in the near future, and I am psyched to catch Loki in the other Marvel series coming to Disney+. What do you think about Marvel using a real-life crime for the MCU, and do you think that Loki will be a part of any other major events from history during the series? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. I'll see you next time.